What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. And there's a lot of update on this car. As you can see, I have the funnel. I was trying to bleed the coolant and trying to get this car ready for tune on Tuesday, the 31st, next week. Today being the 25th. So I literally have about 6 days to get this car up and running, alignment, basically alignment and all that stuff done before tune date. Now, let's talk about this car right now. By the way, my wheels, my tires, ready to put on the car. My old, I got TTs, the SSR SP1s, the rest of it's in the basement. I'm in the process of bleeding the brakes, and let's talk about the car. Let's start there for now. I wasn't planning on doing the rear control arms. This is Dominique's kid from Michigan. I cannot pronounce the last name, so don't question me on that. I wasn't planning on doing the rears. I was only going to do the front end, and I had mentioned in the previous video that I was actually going to leave it, the rear, the way it was with the factory arms and stuff. And I decided to change it out because of the fat tires that I have, the 285s in the back, and I just don't want to have it rub in the, obviously in the fender and all that stuff. So I decided to do that, and I got one side done, and it took a while because I believe I had to cut this one. So this on each side had to be cut, but this one came out easily, and then this one obviously came out easily too as well. So yeah, I got one side done, and then I went to go install the other side, and it's my fault for not checking prior to even taking everything out. As you can hear my disappointment in my voice. I went to go install the other side, and I took it apart, everything. Then I realized this piece right here, this piece, it's called something. I was missing two sets. Two washers and this piece right here to install these two. Now, mistakes happen. I'm not mad at the company that Dominic for, forgetting to send me that, all that stuff. In a way, I'm kind of glad he, obviously mistakes happen. Somebody, I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else in his company, forgot to, obviously put it in the box. I'm kind of glad in a way that wasn't in the box. The reason being is I would have got this completed, which obviously is good news, and got this car lowered on the tires and everything and ready for alignment for tomorrow, which is being Thursday. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, and here's why. One, I had two leaks that I found, and one of the leaks I mentioned in the past in my previous video that I was glad there was no oil leak, but apparently I do have an oil leak, and it's back here, right there on the block, right underneath that bolt right there, that bolt. And I was a little confused because I didn't know exactly where it was coming from, and it's coming from behind this guy right here, the valve covers. And these are brand new valve cover seals. And all the bolts are torqued down to factory spec, so I was a little confused why this was happening, right? So I gave it one little turn on this bolt. Not full, maybe full, maybe half. Again, it was loose, right? So I turned it. So it wasn't like I'm forcing it to torque it, tighten it even down. So, and I started the car, and I noticed there was building up again, and I was still confused on why this was happening, so I just left it alone, and I didn't want to dig into more until now. My other issue was this part right here. I had a coolant leak. As you can see, my water pump is somewhat pinkish or a little dirty. Yeah, pinkish right there. See, it's clear on the video. Couldn't figure out where that leak was until I realized these two bolts were slightly loose. So I turned it a little bit, and now it's tightened, but the leak was still there. So it wasn't this issue. It was that little sensor, the second sensor right there, which wasn't tightened on all the way, and I didn't forcefully tighten this down when I had it out after the powder coating, so that's my fault. And so I turned that a couple times, and now there's no leak. Now, fast forward a couple hours later, I am in the garage now, trying to bleed the brakes, as you saw in the back, and then I just was curious, where is this oil coming from? Because I had originally sprayed Brake Clean here, and there's a puddle now. And so I put my hand back there. It was a little wet, and bolts are completely tightened down, so I'm a little confused where the leak is coming from. Obviously, it's coming from up top for it to come down that little edge over there. And so I went and did some digging. As you can see, I have my coil packs out. One of them is slightly wet, which is that one right there. And rest of them are dry, except that one right there. So that was the middle coil pack. And I went through the middle coil pack here. And it's all dry, right? All dry. Now, I have a tune date in 6 days. 5-6 days. Well, yeah, doesn't really matter at this point, and here's why. What do you see? This is not over tightened at all whatsoever. It's factory spec. I don't know why this cracked, and I'm a little annoyed. I'm frustrated, and also just don't give a shit anymore. Now I have to look for valve covers. If somebody has one just on the exhaust side, that'd be great. And then that means that I'm gonna have to somehow take this fitting out, because those two fittings right there, those are radium fittings, and they're $100. At this point, it looks like they're a fucking waste if I have to replace both the valve covers. And obviously everybody's asking ridiculous amounts for these valve covers as is, so I'm just, it's a money fucking pit at this point. It's just, I'm just dumping money left and right. And one issue after another. That's just the thing with this car. Now, another issue that I'm having right now is this brake caliper. When I'm gonna pump the brakes, there's barely any fluid is coming out. The other side, it bled completely fine. Brakes, fluid in the thing, blah, blah, blah. But this one, the brake pedal is not even going all the way down. So something's going on with this caliper. At this point, I don't even care about this caliper anymore. I might just even put some TT calipers on there and be done with it. Another issue that I've had, and that issue's been fixed right now, is, I don't know if you guys noticed, I got my RMR throttle body on here. I mentioned to you guys, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, the holes had to be drilled. I drilled it out at the machine shop, drilled out the whole 4 holes, 3/8. Went to go install it. Obviously, the bolts have to be, the bolts were not going in straight. They were going in like a weird angle. I think that's just how the flange is placed. So obviously when I went to go put the bolts were like rubbing against the sidewall and towards the edge over here on pretty much, crosswise. And yeah, and I was having some issues with that. So I went and got it machined again, just slightly bigger. I think it was smaller than 3/8 before, then it was 3/8, I believe. And then or I might have done it 3/8 after the machining and made it a little bigger, and then it helped a little bit when it went in with the bolts. Machine shop even drilled out the screws, shaved it off on the outer side because it's an Allen. Still was having an issue at that point. I got annoyed and used a step-up drill and just made it bigger on each end on the 4 holes, and then it went in like it was meant for it. And then I'm only using one O-ring, not the O-ring on the flange, just the O-ring from the throttle body. But yeah, I did the boost test, and after the boost test, I put about 50 PSI. There's no leaks in the system, so I'm not concerned anywhere there with the boost pressure and all that stuff. Now, as you can tell, my frustration in my voice, I'm just give up on this car. I really wanted to get this car running, and it seems like it's not possible in next week. It's just one after another, and yeah. So I'm gonna be looking for valve covers. That's another, money being spent on this car as much as I didn't want to. I had this nicely power coated now, and that was a waste too. And so, and then radium fittings on this. So I don't know. I got to figure out if I can get those fittings out and and press it back into another valve covers. It would be great if I can do that. If not, then there goes my money. Kind of regret taking this whole car apart this year and doing all this grand stuff. But at this point, I'm already too deep in. So, yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry for the bad news. I really wanted the car running. The car is actually running. It starts. But I will no longer be starting until I get the new valve covers replacements. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.